Welcome back to Kermode Uncut, where once again I'm doing my rundown of the best and worst films of 2016. As I said before, the rules are simple. It's films released in UK cinemas in 2016. Last blog I did numbers 10 to 6 of my favourite films of the year. Now it's time for numbers 10 to 6 of my least favourite films of 2016. Now at number 10 in my rundown of the best films of the year, I cheated. I did a joint 10th place, so I actually had 11 in that top 10. I've done the same when it comes to the worst films of the year. At joint 10th place in my worst films of 2016, Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice and Suicide Squad. Now, the reason I put these two films together is, on the one hand, they're kind of formally similar, but more importantly, they both raised issues of whether or not critics have become out of touch with audiences. I mean, both films got pretty sniffy reviews from critics, I think justifiably so. And then critics got an awful lot of flack from audiences who said, we like these films, look at the box office figures, what are you doing complaining about them? I mean, in the end, it's just a matter of opinion. But in the case of both of those movies, I went in genuinely wanting them to be good, wanting them to be exciting, wanting them to be thrilling, and came out thinking, really? Really? Is that the best we can do?
What the hell's wrong with you people?
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
On to number 9 in my rundown of the most disappointing films of 2016. And at number 9, it's Ben-Hur in 3D. Now, I did a blog already about the fact that Ben-Hur was a remake, but that wasn't a problem because it was always a remake. There have been so many versions of it. The thing with Ben-Hur in 3D was, hey, this is the first film that gives you this story in 3D, which is, of course, not true. Long before it was a film, Ben-Hur was a stage production. I've said this before, they had live horses with chariot races on stage. They had a cyclorama and a stage that ran below their hooves. That was 3D. The very first production of Ben-Hur was 3D. Then we had the films, all the different versions, and now we have the first cinematic 3D production, which is about half the length of the Charlton Heston version that everyone remembers. It somehow manages to feel about twice as long. The greatest crime of it, for a film with that much action in it, it's really boring.
Should have stayed away.
You should have killed me.
On to number 8, and it's criminal in every sense of the word. The plot of Criminal goes like this. Ryan Reynolds is brain splanted into the body of Kevin Costner, who then goes around merry London kicking in the heads of people in kebab shops. Apparently it's bang out of order.
He's unable to calculate the consequences of his actions.
So, on to number 7 in my rundown of worst films of 2016. And at number 7, a film directed by Ron Howard, Inferno. Now, the thing about Ron Howard is this. Ron Howard's a great director, okay? He directed Splash, which I love. He directed Apollo 13, which I love. He's directed loads of things which I love. But you put Ron Howard together with Dan Brown, and suddenly he turns into a latter-day Ed Wood, but without the weird, quirky charm. The fact of the matter is that if you look at Angels and Demons, I mean, yeah, it's an incredibly stupid movie, but at least with its mad skydiving pontiff's finale, it's quite funny. Inferno isn't even funny. It's just running in and out of rooms, pointing at things, explaining the plot, and then stopping. But not soon enough.
Human lives are at stake. I just want to know that I'm on the right side.
And at number 6, 50 Shades of Black. You remember 50 Shades of Grey? It was quite funny in places. I mean, some intentionally so, some unintentionally so. Remember 50 Shades of Black? Marlon Wayans said, the question is, how do we make this funny? It's a question he never answered. So there we are, number 10 to number 6 in my worst films released in the UK in 2016. At joint 10th place, Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad. At number 9, Ben-Hur in 3D. At number 8, Criminal. Number 7, Ron Howard's Inferno. And at number 6, 50 Shades of Black. The thing I'd like to say now is, 50 Shades of Black isn't one of the top 5 worst films of the year. Now that's scary.
You're such a stallion!
Next up on Kermode Uncut, numbers 5 to 1 of my best films of 2016.